This is your host, Ferrante Frazier. This is another episode of Natural is Elf. We have a great show prepared for you on helping you understand how to get rid of the health issues that you're suffering from. Hold on. Say that I'm muted. How about now? How about now? Tell me about now. All right. I'm going out and coming back in. How about now? A little difficulty there. There we go. Good. All right. This is another episode. That's a little technical difficulty we had just then, but nonetheless, we're still going to get out this good information that we have. I'm your host, Ferrante Frazier. I'm a holistic doctor, and I teach natural health called natural hygiene. And what we're going to talk about today is about a system, an endocrine system, that, and we're going to talk about one in particular, which is the thyroid gland. And a lot of us are suffering with issues of the endocrine system, and these things are being controlled with treatment, such as hormone therapies and stuff like that. And we notice that we're not getting any better, even though we're using all these different treatments. We go and get all these specialized tests from the endocrinologist, and we're not getting any better. So what we did was put a show together to give you a better understanding of what the endocrine system is, the thyroid gland is, what produces the diseases that affect the thyroid gland, and what you need to do to correct them. All right, so I want you to make sure that you, if you have a friend, if you have a family member, or you yourself are suffering with these problems, such as goiter, what they call is Baesdow's disease, or Yorkshire neck, or what they call hyperthyroidism. If you're suffering with any of those, which is the same thing, just different name, make sure that you stay tuned with us the entire show and have your paper and pen. If it's a friend or family, you need to share with them this information. I want to thank all our listeners that come every week and follow this show. Because we try to bring valuable information on how to correct your health issues without the use of the medicine man. Notice the name of the show is Natural is Elf. All right. So we're going to show you ways and means on how to correct any health issue that mankind is suffering from without medicine, without herbs, without remedies, without treatments, without anything. That's why it's called Natural as Elf. So we're going to show you the most naturalist way to regain health back to your body, or to recover, or to regenerate your body back to health. All right. So I want to thank the Our Black Media for bringing this information to the community at large, the world at large. If you haven't yet, become a subscriber to the Our Black Media platform network on YouTube, on Facebook, go to Roku, on your television, and subscribe, where you can be informed every time we bring these, shows. You won't miss it. You just stumble up on the show today on how to correct your health issues. So let's make sure that you are informed and alerted on future shows that's going to be so beneficial in helping you, your loved ones, your friends, even your enemies, reverse their sicknesses without the use of any type of treatment. So I want to start off with giving you a little, we're going to go into the anatomy book, the human body, all right? And we're going to talk about the endocrine system real rapidly. And the endocrine system, according to the human, the glands and cells of the endocrine system produce chemical messengers called hormones, which circulate in blood and other fluids in response to physiological feedback. They maintain an optimal internal environment. Hormones also govern long-term processes such as growth, the changes that take place during puberty, and reproductive activity. The endocrine system is linked closely to the nervous system via the brain, allowing dual monitoring and control of all other systems. So the endocrine system is very vital in keeping homeostasis and keeping a proper balance in the body. So when the body, it uses this feedback mechanism. If something is not going right, that feedback alerts the body, and it shoot out a hormone to regulate that or control it or bring it back into balance. And it does so via the endocrine system. Now, components of the endocrine system is the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, the thyroid gland, of which we'll be talking about here real shortly, the thymus gland, and we do this to help with building the thymus gland up. Something as simple as putting your hand in the fist. You're doing the black power, but you're going to do the black power and you're going to say, ha, ha, ha. All right, you're going to laugh, ha, ha, ha. And you're going to right here like what the gorilla do. All right, you know how when the gorilla be, well, you're just going to do with one, you're going to say, ha, 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 ha. That is called the thymus thump. All right, now the thymus thump actually helps with thymus activity. It helps with efficiency. So every so often you're going out through the day, just laughter, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. That's called the thymus thump. And you can look that up and see the benefits of the thymus thump. All right. All right. Let's go to the endocrine system page. I want to go over something before we go into the thyroid situation. All right. Now, in the endocrine system, you have a master gland, which is the pituitary gland. But what we're here focused on today is the thyroid and the parathyroid gland. The thyroid is located in the front of the neck. All right. The thyroid is located in the front of the neck with the 4 tiny parathyroid glands embedded in its rearmost wings. All right. The hormones it produces have wide-ranging effects on body chemistry, including the maintenance of body weight. So, the thyroid helps with the maintenance of body weight. It regulates body weight. The rate of energy used from blood glucose and heart rate. So not only do it help with the maintenance of body weight, it also helps with the rate of energy used from blood glucose. So it determines how much of the glucose is being burned, being used from the blood. And heart rate. So if you notice that a lot of people do suffer with diabetes, may have a problem of not being able to get a more energy or using up enough glucose out of the blood. So if the glucose stay in the blood, that's what you got, diabetes. So it's not always the pancreas that is causing so-called buildup of blood. Build up of sugar in the blood, because that's what diabetes is, high blood sugar. Sugar is not leaving the blood. Now here you see that the thyroid also helps with the rate of energy used from the blood glucose and the heart rate. Unlike other glands, it can store the hormones it produces. The parathyroids produce parathormone, PTH, which increases the levels of calcium in the blood. PTH acts on bones to release their stored calcium, on the intestines to increase calcium absorption, and on the kidneys to prevent calcium loss. So PTH has a very good job here. All right, now why do it act on the bones to release their stored calcium? Well, it acts on the bones to release stored calcium because calcium is an alkaline mineral. And when your body becomes acidic, the liver pulls from the bones calcium to neutralize that acidity. Your blood becomes acidic. Your body have to pull from the bones alkaline minerals to buffer that acid blood. This is to protect and preserve life. Some people be suffering with acidosis, and it's all because they can't release, PTH from the bones. So a lot of issues can result from the thyroid not acting properly, if it's overacting or if it's underacting. All right. Overactivity is not ideal, and neither is underactivity ideal. So it also makes sure that you just don't lose all your calcium. You start, having calcium come into the body, and you urinating it right on out. So you never be able to store it in the bones. That's what makes good, healthy, strong bones, calcium and vitamin D. All right, so we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back from this break, we're going to go in and start talking about the Goiter, the Baesdow disease, the hyperthyroidism, and the Yorkshire's neck. We're going to start talking about the symptoms that people suffer from, the different types of hypothyroidism, the different degrees, and we're going to talk about the etiology behind it, what builds it, and then we're going to talk about the prognosis. Is it favorable? Can it be healed? And how long do it take to heal and stuff like that. Then we're going to talk about the care of the patient, those who are sick, what you need to do to get your body back in order. So we'll be right back after this message, after this quick little break. Now, let me ask you something. Are you or one of your friends or family members walking around and got a big lump coming from out of the side of your neck, out of the middle of your neck, somewhere around your neck? And the doctor is telling you that you have an overactive thyroid gland, and he's calling it a goiter. It's like you got a big Adam's apple, especially women. You see a lot of it happen with them. You got, this big bulge coming from out of your bottom of your jaw. These are affections of the ductless gland. Now, this ductless gland is the thyroid gland. Now, all glands of the body, be they duct or ductless, are under the constitutional or federal government of the body. They all run by the constitution of the body. There's one constitution that the body, every cell and tissue must follow. They're a union. All right. So they must follow this, you'll say, organism constitution. We're going to call it the constitution of the organism. And all these organs and tissues, for it to be a part of your body, must join a union called symbiosis. And when it joins the union, just like every state in the United States had to join the federal union to become the united. They became united together via all of them agreeing and signing the Constitution. They're going to follow this Constitution to the fullest. The same thing with the organism, cells, and tissues of the body. They are all under the same Constitution. And none of them can falter in following their Constitution. They all got it the same. They all are fed from the same blood system. All right, so the same blood that feeds the heart also feeds the tonsils, also feeds the adenoid, the adrenaline system, the pituitary system, the pancreas, the thyroid, the thymus. All the different tissues and organs and cells and organ systems of the body are all fed from the same bloodstream. That same bloodstream take oxygen to all cells and tissues of the body. That same bloodstream take nutrition, be it sun, vitamins, minerals, whatever, to every cell of the body. So if there is malnutrition going on, or some type of deficiency, a mineral deficiency, a vitamin deficiency from not eating proper food, or if you have a derangement in your digestive tract that you can't absorb even natural food, then your body is going to go in a deficiency. It's going to go into a state of not getting food, starvation, even though you're eating plenty of food. Wrong food, or food that just can't digest because the system just can't make use of it. So it's not all about what you're eating, it's what you're able to assimilate from what you're eating that then becomes flesh and blood and then travels around to every cell and tissue and is then used for construction of new cell structure or for function or to help the cell function. But if you're not getting the proper food or you're not able to assimilate the food, then nothing can become blood. And if the blood don't have the vitamins and minerals and the macronutrients that's needed for cellular growth and cellular function, then every cell and tissue that need nutrition from the blood is going to be out of gas, not going to be able to get anything. And here it is, the thyroid is such a gland that requires nutrition from the blood. So we don't have to, we don't have to think, if other organs and tissues in the body are without um, without nutrition, that this cell and tissue is going to keep continuously work, even though it's not getting nutrition as well. So let's look at this. I'm going to go into. I'm going to tell you one thing before we do start talking about it. Every cell must have energy. Every cell of the body must have energy and food. Those are the two requirements that they really need. Now, food is going to be nutrition. That's going to be air, water, and you'll say macro and micronutrients. That's minerals and vitamins, proteins, fats, and different stuff like that. So they're going to need food. That's nutrition. And they're going to need energy to make use of the food. Now, energy comes from rest, getting sleep. We think that we can get energy from stimulants, stimulating food, stimulating drinks, stimulating remedies, stimulating drugs. All this does not provide the body with energy. It robs the body of the little energy it still has. It's like trying to beat a tired horse with a whip. Now, beating a tired horse with a whip don't give it energy, even though he gonna get up and move now. But it's not gonna give him energy. You're just stimulating him to move. And if you keep whipping him and never let him sit down and get any rest, he will soon die. This is the same thing going on with the organs and tissues of our body. When we utilize stimulants to force inactive organs and tissues in action, they're failing. They're not working properly. Instead of us giving them rest, we go to these medical doctors, we go to these different herb meds, and we go through all these different treatments, and we get stimulating poisons to force activity where the body is demanding rest. We want the body to act when the body is trying to tell you, I need rest. We don't give it rest. And so it soon goes from failure to atrophy. It degenerates. Now we're suffering with degenerative disease because we didn't allow the organs and tissues to rest. Now, hyper usually comes from the point of it's trying to work and keep up with the issues of the body. Your muscles hypertrophy when you keep putting work to it. It builds up and gets strong to deal with the excessive work. You overwork it, it starts atrophying. That's why you got to give it rest as well. All right, so we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back from this break, we're going straight into thyroid. We're going to talk straight into the thyroid. So give us a quick second. Make sure you get you a paper and pen and come back. And we're going to study to get that neck in order. Get that goiter gone. Get your hyperthyroidism out of the issue for you. Get rid of that Yorkshire's neck and you can feel more comfortable. You can stop wearing those turtlenecks everywhere you go. Like I got to straighten up my neck now. Like the shirt was off center. But you can get rid of your turtlenecks. You can stop having to talk with hiding your neck and stuff like that. You can do something about it by following the techniques that we're going to tell you in a little bit to get rid of that problem and feel more comfortable in yourself and in your health. So we'll be right back.
Need your garments cleaned with care and with a professional touch? Then bring them to One Price Cleaners in Garden City at the Old Farmers Market on Highway 80. Service you can count on.
Hello, I'm back. All right, so let's talk about goiter. Goiter is defined as those other names in the topic. It's defined as, Baesdow's disease, Yorkshire neck, hyperthyroidism. Well, it's goiter is just an enlargement of the thyroid gland. Enlargement just means it's getting bigger. Now, the thyroid gland secretes a substance known as thyroxine, which it acts as a catalytic agent in the process of oxidation. So it helps the oxidation process. When they say a catalytic agent, meaning that it helps with the change. It helps with the shift, the transformation in the oxidation process. So without thyroxine, that thing cannot oxidize. It cannot change. It cannot shift. Just like inside the stomach, for your food, for carbohydrates to break down into amino acids, there must be an enzyme to help as a catalytic change or shift. All right. So they call it a catalyst. An enzyme is a catalyst. It helps with changing a thing into something else. It's like a shape shift when it is present. So if pepsin is present around proteins, it'll make it turn into amino acids. It'll flip it and break it down into amino acids. So it helps in the change. All right. So thyroxine is active in practically all the cells of the body. It quickens the rate of transformation of energy and is a regulator of metabolism. So thyroxine is active in every tissue of the body. It helps with the transformation of energy and regulates metabolism. So if you might be feeling sluggish and down a lot, you might be suffering with a problem with the thyroid. If you have a problem with your metabolism, you might be suffering with problems of the thyroid. According to the literature, an elevation or depression of 1 milligram of the thyroxine content of the body results in a corresponding shift of 2.8% in basal metabolism. So just 1 milligram can shift your metabolism so much that it can cause you some really bad tiredness or fatigueness in your body. So hyperthyroidism is the term applied to the physiologic status that obtains when there is an excess of thyroxine in the body. So when there is an excessive amount of thyroxine being produced from the thyroid gland and is in the body, you're going to see a excessive metabolism going on. There's going to be excessive metabolism going on. Symptoms. There are several classifications of goiter, but we shall only talk about the simple ones. Mostly would be understood if you're not a science, geek, like some people tend to call me. But if you're not a science geek or love to, learn about health and try to learn everything you know about the human body, and you just want to know how to correct this problem, Well, let's lay it down in layman's terms. You have the simple hypertrophic goiter. All right. Simple hypertrophic goiter. Now, this is characterized as a simple enlargement of the thyroid gland. It may occur without any appreciable disturbances of your function of your body. It is frequent in young girls and often disappears at puberty. The voice and swallowing may be affected by pressure exerted by the enlarged gland. So you may have a lot of the young girls, their voice change. And it all because of the gland, an enlarged gland. And a lot of us, we'd be wondering, what's going on with the child. And then when puberty hit, and they grow a little more, and their endocrine system, their glands, they start having breasts, and their ovaries start developing more. Then the endocrine system kind of, off balance that, and the thyroid tends to go down. So it usually goes away after puberty. Then you have cystic or colloidal goiter. Is a thyroidal cyst containing a fluid or colloid substance within its capsule. It may affect by pressure the voice and swallowing. So a cystic goiter is what you usually see in a lot of people, where you have those Yorkshire necks where they just have big old, big old like swollen glands. But it's not actually a gland; it's a cyst. It'd be like an abscess that's growing from out of their neck. Like you can have a cyst growing up out of the side of the jaw, and you can have it growing out of the neck. So it's the cyst in that area is which would be called a cystic goiter. It contains fluid or some colloid substance. And then you have exophthalmic goiter, which receives its name from the manner in which the eyes protrude from their sockets. There is an increase of pulse rate, frequently running up to 140, even 160 a minute. Often violent palpitation, increased metabolism, nervous and mental symptoms, loss of weight and energy, and often there is sugar in the urine. Receives its name from the manner of the eyes be protruding. Medical science will have us believe that all the disagreeable symptoms peculiar to goiter are due to systemic poisoning from excess secretion. They think that just because you're producing an excess of thyroxine, the thyroxine is the problem that is causing your health issues. But your health issue is causing the overactivity of the thyroid to produce excessive thyroxine. So they're trying to treat you for the excess of thyroxine, but they're not treating you. Why is the thyroid producing excessive thyroxine? So you never get your problem fixed. All right. Etiology of goiter. It doesn't matter which goiter you're actually suffering from. The etiology of goiter is hyperthyroidism. It results from toxemia, poison blood. Toxemia is poison blood. Toxemia, poison blood. Tox, poison, emia, blood. So it is the result of poison blood. The essential and ever-present first cause of overactivity of the thyroid. So when your thyroid is overacting, this is 99.99% of the cause, the reason why your thyroid is overactive is because you have an excess amount of poison circulating in your blood. All right. Now, this poison can come from so many different ways. If you go to one of our other shows, it talks about toxemia and how toxemia, being the second stage of disease, can result in numerous different forms of sicknesses in your body. Toxemia is the root to all disease. It's the foundation. You can't build near disease in your body without first having a foundation of toxemia, poison blood. Because remember, we said that every cell is bound by a constitution, which is the blood, clean blood. They are united by the bloodstream. Every cell and tissue is subjected to the bloodstream. Their welfare, their waste removal, all is subjected to the bloodstream. And if the bloodstream be toxic, all the cells and tissues will have to live and bathe and eat from that toxic bloodstream because they're bound by that bloodstream, just like we're all bound by the Constitution. They're bound by this toxic bloodstream. And if this bloodstream is toxic, then the first ones, imagine if, if the Constitution failed, in the United States, in the states that really don't have no type of laws or no type of constitution themselves or no backbone or anything, they're going to be the first ones to fall apart. The only thing that was holding them together was the Constitution. So if the federal government been loaning them money and taking care of them and keeping their parks clean and all that, but if the federal government disappear, then the state itself is not going to be able to maintain itself. But those states that are, got plenty money, got organization and stuff like that, they're going to be okay for a while. So here in the body, the organs and tissues that are the weakest, the ones that have been overused and abused in your lifetime, in your day-to-day living, when the constitution of the body, which is the blood, fails, then the weakest cell is going to be the first one to give in, first one to falter, first one to, fail. To us, all goiters are toxic goiters. There is no such thing as, goiter caused by really anything else but toxemia. So all goiters, when a client come to me and I see them with a goiter, I already know that their body is toxic. That's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is start detoxifying their body. Supersaturation of the body with toxins from checked elimination. That means a lot of their organs of elimination is not working. The elimination has been checked. Their energy is so low that their body has suspended any use of energy. Their colon is so fatigued that it no longer can get any energy. Their kidneys are so fatigued that it no longer can get any energy. You can't get no energy. That's why it's fatigued. It's been squandering away all the energy with Coca-Colas, coffees, teas, and liquors. The colon has overworked itself that it has had a check on any more use of energy. And we learned that in last week with constipation. So anytime that the body is wasting energy at a very, very rapid rate, the body will put a check on the use of that energy. It will stop it. You see that with medication. You use some medication and the body acts. Then eventually the body says, man, I'm wasting energy doing this. And it does what? It stops. So why is the medicine no longer working if the medicine worked in the beginning? No, it's the body was working to get rid of the medication, And so happened the way to get rid of that medication was in line with more functioning in a certain area of your body. More functioning in the kidneys. If the kidneys wasn't functioning and something in the kidneys is only taking a rest to heal itself. But if something come there and hit it, bah, get up and move. Or something you take is real poisonous and it can threaten to kill you, then the kidneys is not going to say, well, I'm going to sleep a little longer. It's going to get to work. Let me make sure you understand what I just said. The only reason why when you take a diuretic, the diuretic make you go use the bathroom, it's not that the diuretic making you go use the bathroom. It's just that the diuretic is such a poisonous pill that when ingested into your body, the body is in a dire strait to either lay down and die or do something to defend itself against this poison you just injected into your body. The body, in all its wisdom, is going to follow the law of self-preservation. It's going to try to heal itself. It's going to do so by neutralizing this poison and sending it out the best way. Now, the best way to get rid of diuretic is through the kidney. So the kidneys, even though it's sleepy and tired, it must step up and do the job of getting rid of this poison to save the whole body. It can't sleep. So it appears that it worked. But if you do this over and over, day after day, beating and lashing the kidney's going to say, oh, I can't take it no more. And it's going to stop. That's a check on elimination. All right, we're going to be back in just a second. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. We're rounding down to the last 15 minutes. So we're going to come right back after this break, and we're going to sum this thing up. Well, we might not be taking a break. All right, so we're just going to continuously go ahead and finish this up. Now, excessive eating of proteins, starches, pies, puddings, etc., and neglect of raw vegetables and fruits, and from various poisonous habits and the pyramiding of the effects of bad habit is the cause of goiter. So the pyramiding is meaning you stacking bad habits on top of each other, just stacking bad habits on top of each other, all right? And that, along with eating bad, not eating fruits and vegetables, and your other various poisonous habits, that is the cause of goiter. There's no separate cause. You know, in one man, poisonous bad habits produce goiter. In another man, it produces colitis. In another man, it produces kidney disease. In another person, it produces hardening of heart, artery deterioration, brain disorders. So everything is rooted in toxemia and bad habits. But each person has a different way of manifesting their own bad habits. All right. Domestic and social discord, worry, irritation may easily produce enough sympathetic stimulation of the thyroid to result in isothalamic goiter. Overwork, the various poisonous habits such as coffee, tea, tobacco, alcohol, etc. Too frequent childbearing. Listen to that. Too frequent childbearing or other drains upon the organism. And the various indulgences common to modern living are factors in the production of goiter. We consider it very significant that among animals in captivity, only carnivores suffer from goiter. You know, they got this big, oh, we got to just eat meat. But here it's telling you, we consider it very significant that among animals in captivity, only carnivores suffer from goiter. Vegetarian and fruitarian animals are not so affected. Ain't that something? Ain't that news? So that right there should be a light switch on. If I'm suffering with goiter, first thing I need to do is stop the ingestion of animal flesh. and their organs and tissue and their byproducts. And I should consume more fruits and vegetables. The thyroid gland is very closely linked with the sex glands. Apparently, there is a more fundamental relationship between the female sex organism and the thyroid than between it and the male sex organism. So the female organism is more linked with the sex glands, with the endocrine system, such as the thyroid gland, than males. At least disturbances of the sex functions in females have a more profoundly disturbing effect upon the thyroid than do disturbances of the male sex function. The sex factor in the development of goiter has not received sufficient consideration. Dr. Wager says that in practically all female goiter patients who have reached maturity, and also frequently in girls who have just passed puberty, is an intimate association and pathological involvement of the ovaries or uterus or both. So most women who are suffering with goiters up in age after puberty is very much linked to the thyroid. And it's because of abuse of their uterus, their ovaries. In the majority of cases, there exists a small uterine fibroid. In many cases, the uterine tissues are themselves in a state of fibrosis, induration, and enlargement. Now, most of the women are suffering. They go into the gynecologists and, they're suffering with all these cysts and polyps and fibroids and all this type of stuff on their uterus, on their womb. And then the doctor only want to just cut out these things. Almost invariably, there is found a complicating chronic endometritis or endocervicitis with retained secretions. Tilden says, thyroid enlargement is secondary to uterine and ovarian perversion in the female and gonadal perversions in the male. All right, so he's saying that the primary issue, when you're suffering with a goiter or Yorkshire neck or Baesdow disease or hyperthyroidism, that is secondary. It is because of an issue in the uterine or the ovaries. There's a perversion somewhere already down the system. And since that perversion is present, now you're presenting this new state of hypothyroidism. He says, superinduced by overindulged appetite and passion. All right? Overindulged appetite and passion. For the most part, by suppressed lasciviousness and salaciousness. Again, I have never seen a case of goiter in women who have not been troubled with toxemia and who have not been suffering with gastrointestinal catarrh, mucus buildup, irritation, inflammation, and catarrh state of the womb. I have found drainage from the womb invariably imperfect. So the average person who is draining from the womb, it'd be imperfect. They usually have a bent neck or pent up womb, and they can't get proper drainage. And that causes irritation. It even causes some of them to excessively have sex because it irritates their clitoris and causes them to stay stimulant, and have them thinking about it. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The thyroid and mammary glands are auxiliary to the reproductive system, and anything that perverts the functions of the reproductive organ causes abnormalities of the thyroid and breast. Lumps in the breast, so generally headed into cancer, are invariably associated with the same kind of pelvic derangement as is goiter. So here it is, we're seeing that a lot of even breast cancer, or what they're calling breast cancer, or in cutting people, lopping off people's breasts for, is really a derangement in the pelvic area as well. It all stemming from pelvic perversion, uterine perversion, ovarian perversion. And this usually coming from them having really bad menstrual cycles, them having really bad long menstrual cycles, um, painful menstrual cycles, fibroids, tumors on the uterine walls and wombs and stuff like that. In goiter, the breasts of the female are often enlarged and the glands hard and sensitive. The womb is often enlarged and sensitive with catarrh and even ulceration of the neck or the body of the womb. The imperfectly drained secretions of the womb undergo decomposition and become highly toxic. That's the irritating part of it. Sexually repression is especially common in females, and many of these repressed women are as lascivious as any libertine or harlot or prostitute. If married, they enter the sexual relationship without responding consciously or subconsciously and repressing themselves, and thus helping to pervert the functions of the thyroid. So repression of their sex, they're repressing that sexual desires they have, brings on it. They're reading these books. They love their romantic novelties and love a good romance movie and stuff like that. All that is resulting in it. Prognosis. We got a little bit more time here. Dr. Wager says most hypertrophic goiter can be made to absorb. All right. So he's saying a goiter can actually be absorbed, shrink, disappear. You can get rid of that goiter. You can get rid of that Yorkshire neck. Absorption of a cystic goiter is a very rare occurrence, though. Dr. Silson says esophthalmic goiter can be cured just as easily as a fibroid tumor of the uterus can be cured. Indeed, these diseases can be cured even after many of the heads of the surgical profession of our leading cities declare that they cannot be cured without an operation. All right, so care of the patient. All right, the care. A complete and ultimately successful recovery can occur only, as Dr. Wager says, if the patient is put to bed in an environment that will ensure absolutely physical and mental rest, away from friends and even relatives. The reasons for this are only obvious to those who have had experience in getting nervous patients under control. Outside, and you notice a lot of those women who are suffering with these issues are really neurotic. Outside influence and interference are sometimes insurmountable obstacles and always decided handicaps. We emphasize above the office of nervous irritation, domestic difficulties, and overstimulating the thyroid. It should be obvious to anyone how necessary it is to get away from the sources of the disturbing factors. Proper rest of the nervous system is not possible so long as they exist. Physical and mental rest is vitally important in goiter cases. Toxin elimination is best secured by fasting, physiological rest. This will also hasten the absorption of the enlargement and often result in a rapid reduction and disappearance of the thyroid enlargement and hardening in the breast and womb or ovary. Oh, we run into the doctor with all our issues. When we feel a knot in our breast, we are said to have cysts or polyps in our fibroids in our ovaries. Not me per se, but I'm talking about in the women. We run to the doctor, and the doctor said, we got to cut this stuff out when you can actually just fast and eat properly. I've had clients come to me with those so-called things, and they fasted for a couple of days, and those things went away. So all food, physiological rest can best be attained by a complete fast. All foods must be withheld and nothing but water given until the pulse is normal and all active symptoms have subsided. So I want you to understand your issues can disappear if you get rest, calm your mind, go to bed, and allow your body to heal. This has been another episode of Natural is Out. If you're suffering with this and need guidance in helping you overcome this problem, you can contact us at Savannah Natural Health at 912-227-9335. You don't have to go this alone. We have helped many clients and people overcome these problems successfully without the use of medicine, herbs, or remedies. So get in contact with us, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week here again with another great topic about holistic health and healing. Best of health, and have a great week.
Like this.